Some pretty crazy stuff going down just a few hours before the UFC White House event. It appears that Daniel Cormier, the UFC broadcaster and former UFC champion, deleted some tweets where he showed DMs from Eric Trump, who's obviously Donald Trump's son, asking about rigging fights. It's pretty crazy here. So shout out to the Twitter user here, Sean Meowley. He ended up grabbing screenshots from this. This is 100% real. I've actually looked into it a little bit, but we'll read the tweets here. It says, in a now deleted post by Daniel Cormier, Eric Trump DM'd him and asked him, are any of the fights tomorrow rigged? So you can see the screenshots for yourself. Cormier saying, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for bringing this to light. However, I refuse to stay silent. The UFC is a sport that I'm deeply passionate about. I will not tolerate this type of insider behavior. Shame on anyone trying to ruin this beautiful event. So let's go through the tweets here. And apologies for my voice. I was coaching this weekend. Voice got a little bit loud here. So it sounds like I've smoked like 80 packs of cigarettes. He says, hey, Daniel, I'm going to be attending UFC 250. Saw you were casting. Hope to see you there. He says, didn't expect to hear from you. You placing any bets? This is where things take a kind of a weird turn here. No, I'm actually not allowed to bet on any cards or anything. Any of the fighters injured that you know of? I'm not quite sure why you're asking me this, but I think they're in good shape. I'll just cut to the chase. Are any of the fights tomorrow rigged? I've been eyeing the Lopez fight. I think that's an upset that wouldn't be too unrealistic. This is from Eric Trump's real account, and Cormier did tweet this. This is just insane. So we've got a member of the Trump administration asking, trying to get some inside information from Daniel Cormier. Yeah, so we can see the video below here. So you saw the tweets there in there. And then this other person actually has the video of this as well. Nothing to see here yet. So the tweet disappeared. So you can see on his timeline, Cormier did post this, but then he deleted. Did someone give him a call at the UFC to kind of not bring this up? I have a lot of, well, first and foremost, the most important thing in this entire thing is that Eric Trump should not be tweeting Daniel Cormier this stuff or DMing him about this type of information. That's the first thing. Like, no one wants any integrity of the sport, brought up or whatever. I'm pretty surprised that Cormier tweeted this because considering how close Dana White is with Donald Trump and the administration and them doing this big event tonight, you would think this is something he would have brought to, the UFC's attention before the broadcast, but not make it public, because now someone grabbed this and now it's everywhere and people are talking about it, including myself. This is just a really bad look. So if we go look at some of the comments here, please tell me this isn't real. I wish it wasn't too. People obviously kind of dunking on Eric Trump here. So I wonder, keep an eye on anything that's going on with Cormier going forward here, right? We already know how this event has got very sort of political going in. This is just more ammo for the side of people that, felt that this whole thing was too political and was infiltrating politics. I'm not someone who necessarily believes in that, but there has been a lot of talk of that going through. And if we look at some of the quote tweets, Kaposa, one of the best posters here on Twitter, mentioning this, what the F, Eric Trump looking for insider info on rigged fights from Daniel Cormier. Adam Martin, my friend, DC just tweeted and deleted this. I saw this myself, crazy stuff. Big ups to DC, Ben says. But again, like bringing this to light, I don't know. I just think listen, I think, let me be clear about something. It's good that Daniel Cormier brought this to light because if there are people trying to get insider info and bet and all this stuff, that's stuff we should completely be calling out. I just wonder the fact that he had to delete it, the fact that this is at the White House tonight, the fact that his boss is good friends with Trump, is this not something that could have been handled behind closed doors? I wonder now if Cormier is going to get in any trouble or anything like that because it's all out there in the open, right? Luke Thomas, I'm sure, is just eating this up right now. He even says he saw one legitimate media member saying they saw this tweet before it happened. Can anyone confirm this is real? Incredible, but not surprised. No way. Again, we saw the video of the post being there on that guy's timeline and then it being deleted. Eric Trump asking about fixed fights on tonight's UFC cards took me out. So yeah, people, this is catching fire on social media. And again, I'm bringing this up because this is something that everyone's talking about on X, and I don't know if people are necessarily aware of it here on YouTube. So yeah. We've got a hit now. The president's son asked the UFC to rig fights for their own financial gain on this weekend's festivities. So what's going to happen to Cormier? I mean, keep an eye out on tonight's broadcast if there's anything weird with Cormier. Maybe him not, I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I just wonder now with Cormier doing this event, is there going to be anything kind of to keep an eye on, right? Dana White did the fastest boss call of any time. Anyone else exposing this would have been fired. It's a good point. Like I said, keep an eye on what happens at DC. This is insane. Bunch of looters and gamblers trying to steal as much as they can before the big crash. Matt Wells, who's from MMA Junkie, says what? So yeah, a lot of people wondering what's going on. This is the last thing the UFC wants, is some sort of controversy going into the biggest event of all time, right? You've got all this stuff going on. Speaking of which, the UFC has delayed the card. I don't know if you saw that. So I am going to be going live a little bit later, although we'll see how long I can go live here tonight, because obviously my voice is a little bit rough. With coverage now starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time, the first fight is expected to be at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's kind of late. It'll be 6 o'clock Pacific. That's when I'll be going live here on the channel. Weather delays, I believe, was the issue. Let's go UFC White House weather. The Weather Channel is forecasting chaotic weather setup for tonight's UFC fights on the White House South Lawn. 60% chance of thunderstorms, heavy downpours, and wind gusts up to 34 miles per hour. Brutal DC humidity is driving triple-digit heat in the index. So this is another thing to kind of keep an eye on. I was going to do a separate video on this, but obviously this kind of ties into the event as well. So hopefully everything goes well, but it's not looking too good for the event tonight. So we'll see how this all unfolds. They must have a backup plan for the weather and all that. But again, a lot of forces working against this UFC White House event. Again, I've seen a lot of political stuff sort of going into this, but now this tweet, which you can already see has 212,000 views on it, with Daniel Cormier deleting this tweet. It's going to be interesting. We'll see if anything's addressed. The UFC says anything. Again, you can see the video here. This sort of verifies it, right? This guy's got this on his timeline. Unless, I doubt this guy's going out of his way to doctor some video from his phone. I mean, I don't even know how you do that. So, yeah. Going to be really interesting to see if this gets brought up, or is anyone going to bring this up at the press conference after the fact? Wonder what's going to happen. So, again, we're seeing a lot of people kind of give their own opinions on this. It does appear to be real. Again, at the time I'm doing this, not 100% confirmed that it is real, but again, this video kind of looks at it. Luke Thomas even pointed it out here. So it does look fairly real. And this just seems like something weird to just make up, like right out of the blue. So yeah, Adam says he saw it. Again, there's a lot of people here that are verified, that are legit people that are saying that it got deleted. So yeah, pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. So you think anything comes out of this? Obviously, we've had a lot of weird stuff with fights, the Isaac Dolgarian situation. We had the James Krause thing a couple years ago. We had some weird line moves. Huge event here tonight. This is the last thing the UFC wants, is any sort of controversy going in. So we'll see how this all gets handled, if this gets brought up or this gets swept under the rug. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, it's really interesting to see this kind of come out, especially from someone so high up like Eric Trump doing this. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is real? Is it not real? What's your take if it is real? Like, what's going to happen here? Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.